Welcome, welcome. Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone doing today? Welcome to Passion, Purpose, and Possibilities, where we talk about living your passion, fulfilling your purpose, and exploring those possibilities. I am your money mindset, dream big coach and podcast host, Kenny Ingersoll. Thank you for joining us. As always, this episode is brought to you by IngersollEnterprises.com. IngersollEnterprises.com. Let me get a couple things straightened up right over here. Sorry about that. Excuse me. But hope everyone's doing well today. We have a number of things going on as always. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. So if you have something you do as a family tradition, I'd love to hear it. Drop it in the comments, drop it in the post, drop it in the live chat. I would love to hear it. And if you drop it in the live chat, maybe we'll even chat about it for a minute. Are you traveling? Your family coming to you? What are you doing for the holiday? What are some of your traditions? Thanksgiving's right around the corner. What are you grateful for? There's an abundance of reasons to be grateful. And the more you're grateful for things, the more you have to be grateful for. So we got that coming up. We got my wife with Avon is doing socks for seniors. So great cause for that. Check it out. More information on all these can be found at IngersollEnterprises.com/events. So go check that out. You'll get all the information there. I just trying to get this one last thing to pull up here. Okay, I think we are good now. Sorry. So, a lot of great things going on. Socks for seniors, always a good cause. Go check it out. We have some workshops coming up next month. A lot of great things. And today, we have a special guest. I'm excited for it. Miss Julie Jones. Excuse me. She is an award-winning speaker, international best-selling author, an adventure and breakthrough coach. I'm excited to talk about that and learn more about that myself. She's a TV producer, and her show on the Zondra Network debuts November 3rd. Oh, so just barely. All right. She is a master connector of people who is passionate about supporting high-achieving individuals and getting off the hamster wheel. I thought she was going to say getting off their butts, but hey, we'll take it. Getting off the hamster wheel and feeling overworked, overwhelmed, and tired. She focuses on being in the moment. So without further ado, let us bring on Julie.
Woohoo!
Julie, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you, Kenny?
I am doing well, thank you. I love what you said there. Like I said, I thought you were saying getting off your butt, but we'll take hamster wheel and
We'll take it all, right? Like whether it's off the butt, off the hamster.
Oh. So thank you for being here and taking your time to be here, and like it says right here, connect with people. Master connector of people. How did you come up with that title?
Well, I got to tell you, but first of all, thank you for having me on your show, because I just love the opportunity to be able to speak. It's one of my favorite things to do is to talk. So I get that. I get this great opportunity with you. And so master connector of people, I have been networking here in the state of Arizona for almost 20 years. And what I love to do, because from little on, I've really had this philosophy of, if you want to call givers gain. And I've always been about helping and supporting people. And I'm blessed with this amazing memory to remember things, remember people, remember names, all that kind of stuff. And so whenever somebody's looking for somebody, I immediately have a connection for them. And I love being able to help people build, grow their lives, their business, whatever it is that they most need. I usually have a resource for. I mean, I've had people ask for somebody specific, and I'm like, woohoo, I've got the answer for you.
Awesome. I love it. And that's such a unique title. And I could tell, by our phone call beforehand and by now that you fully stepped into that over those 20 years and whatnot networking. And something else I want to jump into, your TV show debuted just 15 days ago, roughly? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to believe. So I got this calling, as I say, or like message, whatever you want to talk about. I'm very intuitive. And when I wrote down I write it as a get to list, what I get to do. So when I wrote down my get to in 2022,
I love
doing it,
that.
yes. I never had TV show down, like listed as one of the things. And then all of a sudden I started getting these messages like, it's like, like the whole Field of Dreams, right? Build it and they will come, right? So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do a television show. And so I went to Dallas, Texas to tape my show in August. And it just seems like everything, like time waits for no one. And then all of a sudden, like the show is being released. And so on November 3rd, I did a red carpet event here in Scottsdale, Arizona, where a lot of people came. I was really blessed with a lot of support. Over 100 people showed up for the actual event. People also showed up on Zoom. I did a promo video of what the show is going to look like. And now the episodes are out, available on Apple, Amazon Fire, Roku, and also on the internet as well on the Zandra network. So that's the woman who owns it. Her name is Zandra. She has ZTV, and the name of the show is Stop Waiting, Start Living. And I just started promoting my very first episode this past week on social media.
I love that. GTV, and that's very fitting too. But that's so awesome because there are times, it made me think that I didn't have this podcast in my goals, up until coming on 2 years, but it's been such an adventure. It's been such a headache sometimes, such a hassle sometimes, but overall very worthwhile. And I love connecting. If it weren't for this, I wouldn't have connected with you.
Absolutely. Well, and kudos to you and congratulations, because 2 years is a long time, and it's the consistency and the commitment to something that really takes people ahead. And it's like for all of us, right? Like I usually say yes and then figure it out. It's like, okay, yeah, a TV show sounds great. And then I realized all the work, all the commitment, like everything that goes into it. And I wouldn't change a thing, because if we stay in our comfort zone, we don't grow. It's in the ability to really step out. And I call it blowing up the box. So when I blow up the box and just don't put any parameters on anything, and I say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, it's amazing the opportunities that will start to come your way when you just start saying yes to life opportunities.
Absolutely. I've got a chapter in my book that says "Say Yes to Life." I kind of heard some of that from Grant Cardone. He talks about that and what you talked about, and it's so true. And I want to keep tying in the get to, because so often the have to. Like before we got on the show today, I was actually working on a project for my wife, and then one of my thoughts was, I gotta go do my show. I'm in the middle of this project and I don't want to stop, and I don't want to clean out just to get everything back out afterwards or whatever. But I love that reminder that I get to do what I like. I enjoy doing my show. Once it's all set up and going, I enjoy it. I enjoy connecting with people. I've loved our conversations we've had. And all the opportunities that have said yes to whatever it is. Your TV show, the podcast, meeting some great people at a restaurant when you go to dinner sometime. So I love how you did that. So you flew
Well,
to Texas. Sorry,
yeah, I
go
was
ahead.
in Texas. Well, no, I just wanted to say something about that, Kenny, because first of all, like I love that we align on so many different things because I'm a big one on people, even if they just say it to themselves, feel it in your body, the difference between saying I have to do something versus I get to do something. There's such a different alignment within your body. And I really work, with people and individuals to try to, get that word have to out of your vocabulary. Because it just sets it up like it's an obligation rather than something that you find joy in doing. And that's why I love to get to do a lot of things in my life. And you talked about that whole talking thing. And this past week, I was in San Antonio, Texas. And I think eye contact and a smile go a long way these days, with connecting with people. Because, my husband and I, we did that several times and we had some of the best conversations with people, that were strangers, right? And we just had really great conversations. And I love that. I love being able to connect with people. And it's a reminder that we're all human beings having a human experience. And so many times I think, we don't take that time. And when we do, it enriches our lives.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important. Knowing what you want and wanting those things and experiencing those things is part of the reason I've built my businesses the way I have. When we were in San Antonio in August for a business convention, but we made sure to add some family vacation into that. Because otherwise it's all business and you fly in, fly out. But being able to get to make these other memories, and it's more enjoyable for my son when he's there. It's like, oh, mom and dad have to go to another meeting. It's okay, after the meeting we get to do this and this and this. So being able to recognize that and incorporate that into whatever it is, even if it's as simple as after this event I get to go get some ice cream or whatever, and or whatever the case may be. It doesn't have to be on a business trip. It could be your everyday life. Making those little switches and incorporating additional little get tos. That kind of more incentivized, if you will. You know, um, I use things as rewards for myself. After I'm done with this email I get to send off, then I get to go watch a few minutes of my favorite show or pick up one of my favorite books. So and like you said, the smile and eye contact go a long way. You see it in the grocery store, when you're talking to the person behind the counter or even the person in front of you. It it may not have as much effect on their day per se, but it makes your day a whole lot better, at least in my experience.
It
Putting
certainly
down the
does.
phone. Yeah. And who knows where those conversations might go, and those connections. We started off through a mutual friend and through a simple phone call, and if you hadn't made that first connect, we wouldn't be here today, sort of thing. So, um,
Absolutely. So what did you get to do in San Antonio? What was one of your favorite things that you guys ended up doing?
so a couple things. The river walk. We went on the boat on the river walk, and we had a bunch of friends that were also at the convention, so we got to hang out with them. But the river walk and a horse carriage ride were
Ah,
those were a lot of fun. So,
we
and
did
we were there kind of early, so we got to talk to the owner of the horse about the horse, and he showed us all sorts of things of history and all those sorts of things while we were going, and it was really awesome.
well, yeah, we did the boat cruise as well on the Riverwalk, and that was a lot of fun. Saw the carriage rides. My husband's allergic to horses, and he would have gone on it with me, but then he would have been sneezing up a storm, and I'm like, it's okay. It's really not worth it. We did a lot of other fun activities, and got to see a lot of great things in San Antonio. I really liked San Antonio. It was a little chilly this week. I wasn't too happy about that living here in Phoenix, where it's usually a little bit warmer, but it was a great trip all the way around.
Yeah, we got in August, and so compared to Salt Lake, it was quite warm for us when we went.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, and I love how this tied into living in the moment. That's one of the topics we've talked about before. Living in the moment without regrets. Kind of that just go for it and don't look back sort of thing, like you mentioned earlier. Saying yes and figuring out as you go. So I love that. How do people incorporate, or how do you help people incorporate living in the moment? How do you do that more?
Well, a lot of our fears and a lot of stress comes from worrying about the what ifs, like the future, right? And I think we talked about Kenny, but I'm a former police officer. I was a police officer and SWAT member for 10 years in the state of Wisconsin. Now it's been a while because I've been living here in Arizona for 21 years, and I when I moved here I thought I was going to continue on in that career, and I did not. And the biggest thing that I saw over and over again was people, having their lives cut short, either an auto accident or, whatever the situation was. And people wait too much. They're waiting for tomorrow that may never come. There is no promise. And even in my own life, and I think everybody who's maybe listening in has had an experience. Like my mom passed away at the age of 59 from early onset Alzheimer's, and she's been gone 18 years. And when I looked at my parents' lives, and they had all these plans for retirement and everything was cut short, again it was the idea of waiting for tomorrow. So I'm a big one in living right now for today. And it's a choice on how you approach everything, because like I just got back. Okay, I got back late last night from San Antonio. I didn't get to bed till 12:30, and I was up at 6 o'clock this morning. Right. But I jumped out of bed because I was excited. And because this is my first full day back, again, I had the choice whether I could have scheduled the whole day off. And I'm pretty much back to back today with appointments because, kind of catching up from the week, right? But I'm excited. I'm excited about everybody that I get to talk to, the today, because it's about like helping them with their potential. And I always do fun things, right? Like I'm all about these. Like these are what I'm known for, my googly eyed glasses, right? And so it's like the small things that you can do to incorporate fun and make that difference. So a lot of times, like, because I'm, you talked about like adventure and breakthrough, right? Like I'm known as kind of the fun coach. So, if you want to say that, like I don't even know if there's like an actual fun coach that's out there, but if it was, it would be me. Because here's the thing about it is that fun doesn't, have to cost money. Like when you were talking about this idea of have to or get to, right? Like, and you said something about going to get ice cream. Well, like how many times, like with kids, okay, you get ice cream after you eat dinner, right? Like how about mixing it up and saying, "Okay, kids, we're starting with dessert first today, and then we're going to do dinner." Like, there are no set rules, but to switch things up a little bit, or to even as a parent come home with like crazy glasses, right? Your kids may roll their eyes, but they're secretly saying, "Oh my gosh, my parents are really cool." Like, that's a cool thing that they just did. And it's in those moments that we can inspire others. Stop putting off things that you could easily do today. I mean, something as simple as like calling somebody up, having a great conversation, and at the end of the conversation, telling them that you love them. Like, I mean, I tell my girlfriends and my friends and stuff all the time, "Hey, I love you," because a lot of times we may never get that other opportunity again.
Yeah, it's so true. You never know when that last time will be. you know. And there's so many examples. You gave the one of your parents, and we've all got those stories and examples of, "I wish I had 5 more minutes," or, "I wish I would have," you know. And and to that point, that's so true. It's up to us to make those choices. And unfortunately, so often we feel like those set rules, like we have to have dinner first, then dessert. We have to ask the boss, or we have to fit in these parameters. And I'm certainly not saying to you know, be defiant against your boss and all that stuff, but we give so much power to these have tos, or these other things, or these schedules, or dinner first, and all those sorts of things that that we don't do it in the moment. We don't make those choices. We're always living for the future. Well, what if we bring the future to us? What if we, like you said, mix things up? Take take 3 hours off in the middle of a day on Tuesday. You know, if you need to talk to your boss and schedule, do that. I don't want you to get fired, but you know, take some time off on Tuesday and take your kids to Arctic Circle or to whatever, or just take them for a run in the park and get on your goofy glasses and your elf hats and or whatever. Um, I travel a lot with my family. And if business is mixed in with it, then business is mixed in. But business revolves around my family. But I'm not going to wait until I'm retired because I've seen too many things first and second and even third hand. Or like the example you gave, they waited to retirement, but either that didn't come or you get to retirement and now you physically can't do it.
Right.
So I'm doing it now. It may not be exactly the way I want to. Sometimes I may not travel in first class when I want to or whatever, but I'm still going. I'm still going to get ice cream before dinner and getting my goofy hat. There's many times that I'll do skip to Lou my darling in the middle of the parking lot, and you know, and and I'm only embarrassed if I say I'm embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And
Well,
if it,
yeah, there's so many things that I think, like when you were a kid, right? And you saw a big puddle, like after a rainstorm, right? What did you do? You jumped in it, because that was just what you did, right? Like, I mean, oh, there's a puddle, I'm going to jump in it. And then, like, somehow the life starts to happen. We start to tell ourselves stories like as adults. Oh, that's not something you do. You don't jump in puddles. And I'm always like, why not? Like, who said that it has to stop just because you're a certain age? It's like, I think if people incorporated being a 5-year-old a little bit more, like, everything was possible when we were 5. Like, if we wanted to be an astronaut, if we wanted to be a princess, if, whatever it was that you wanted to be, you knew or you thought was possible. And then life starts to happen. And then all of a sudden we stop dreaming. And that's the biggest thing that I really want people to remember is like, okay, what were your dreams? What are your dreams? Don't stop dreaming. No dream is big enough. And like, how can we start to work on those dreams? Like, maybe like you said, like, I mean, maybe you have a dream to go to Machu Picchu, right? Well, like, but you've never like done any hiking or whatever. So I was like, okay, well, we got to start somewhere, and to make that dream a possibility.
absolutely, and and knowing that it is a possibility and believing that is a huge first step. And I think of the worry and stuff like you said, incorporate like a 5-year-old. I think of my 9-year-old son, and if I say let's go get pizza, that's like all he thinks about at the moment. He's not worried about, well, what if we get a flat tire on the way, or what if, at 10 o'clock this has to happen, or he's like pizza, okay, yes. And to a degree I love that. As adults, of course, we need to still be mindful of some things in the future and whatever, but I love that. Pizza, yes, okay, we're getting pizza. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we're getting pizza, we're gonna go jump in a puddle, whatever. And just be in the moment. When the next moment comes, we'll figure out that moment.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
you know,
think, like for like being in the moment is just really enjoying it because my personal opinion, like I love some of the things that technology has brought us, right? But technology is also distracting us. And we're so like we want things, we want them quickly, right? And then when we have them, we're not often paying attention to, like enjoying that moment. So it's like, okay, how can we like just, put the phones away, turn off the phones, be with your family, be truly present, and enjoy what is happening right then and there. I mean, I think that, if we do that a little bit more, and again, saying yes to life opportunities. I'm all about, like, I remember once a girlfriend of mine had gotten free tickets for like a concert, and it was happening that night. And at first I was like, no, like I thought about like all the million things, like we all do it, the million things that I had to do. And I said no at first. And do you know, it didn't take me much more than 5 minutes. And I was like, I called her up. I'm like, the hell with it. Let's go. And we had the best time. It was a memorable moment that I always carry with me. I mean, we were the only ones, like we were at the concert and we're standing and we're dancing. It was like Foreigner or Loverboy or something like that. That's like, I'm a little bit older. So it's like, one of the rock and 80s bands that I grew up with, right? And we just had the best time. But I almost missed out on that opportunity because I was so quick to say no. Like, I have to do all this other stuff. Like, it's all going to wait. There is nothing that is that earth shattering that, like I say, don't put off tomorrow. However, there are some of those have tos that do not have to be done right then and there. They can wait. Start saying yes to, what lights you up, what is, your passion that you want to be doing.
Yeah, the have tos have to wait.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and I love it. That's what you said with Mantra Pizza. Go there. You'll figure it out. You know, um, if you decide that's where you want to go, that's what you want to do it. You know, don't worry yourself with all the, oh, how am I going to pay for it, or I've never traveled there, or all that stuff. You'll figure it out. It'll happen. If you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out. Just like driving, you figured out how to drive or ride a bike. you,
Right.
you you got your knee scraped up a few times, some maybe even a broken bone or something, but you figured it out and you keep going. So thank you for bringing all that up and reminding us to say yes to life. And I want to go back to your show for a minute. Tell us a little more of you know how you were able to and still are, okay, red carpet thing's done. Now I've got these things to produce. How am I going to get it all done? You know,
Well,
yeah, and keeping in the mind the have tos and the not letting it overwhelm you, but still keeping the joy and the passion behind it.
well, and that's, again, everything is always a choice. And, I often say one of my favorite things to say is that my life is not all rainbows, unicorns, and sunshine, right? However, I do choose that a lot. Because, like, if I walked out to my car right now and I found out that I had a flat tire, and I've had an amazing morning, I'm having an amazing day, speaking with you, right? Now I go out and I find my flat tire. Do I say that it's a bad moment or a bad day? Right? Because, like, it's just in that moment that I'm like, oh, okay, well, now I have a flat tire, but maybe it's preventing me from getting into an accident. I don't know what the cause is of like having a flat tire, but it's just really like there's solutions everywhere. It doesn't even have to be a bad moment. Like, maybe it just gives me some time back that I was like, oh my gosh, I was racing from, thing to thing. So sorry, I got, well, my coworkers here in the office with me that have decided that they want to speak out. Hold on just a second. Okay. they got the
No,
they
no
got the
worries at all.
they got the
You know that
stern they
that's
got the stern hey. But when it comes to like my TV show, and the basis of the show is stop. Hold on, I'm gonna send them out. All right. So the basis of the show is about resilience. It's called Stop Waiting, Start Living. It's about people being knocked down in life and they continue to get back up over and over. And it's like, if you want to walk the walk and talk the talk, like if I'm going to be about not about overwhelming, like, I can't overwhelm myself. So if I'm teaching overwhelm, or I'm teaching about not being overworked, overwhelmed, stressed out, like, I really work on that for myself as well, because I'm all about walk the walk, talk the talk. And so for me, it's like sometimes it's the time blocking or setting things as a priority. And I'm not a big believer. And I know that this sometimes comes as a huge, like for people who love to do lists, right? There are people out there that will write everything down on a to-do list. In fact, I know people who like to add to it and then be able to cross it off. See, I'm not a huge fan of the to-do list because that can also help you to like that will lead to a lot of overwhelmed and overworked because you only get so much done on your to-do list, and then at the end of the day you look at what didn't get done versus what did get done. And I'm all about boosting people's self-esteem, self-worth, that kind of thing. So like I do something like more or less like a success list. And I look at the top 2 or 3 things that maybe that I'm working on, and like everything that I'm about to do, I ask myself, is this taking me towards that or is it taking me away from it? So what's my overriding goal? So let's say that you asked me about my television show. Like right now, my primary focus is marketing it and putting it out on social media and getting the information out. Plus, I also am going into taping again on January 27th, and I'm looking for additional guests. So everything that I do, like on that aspect of my business, I look at and say, okay, what can I do easily to like put all of that in place? That can be through newsletters. That can be through social media. Hey, do you like what you see on this television? Do you like what you see on this? Contact me if you would like to be on the television show. So sometimes you can create a game of what I call and do a couple of things at once, not multitasking, because I'm a big believer in that multitasking is not a badge of honor. We're not designed to multitask, but you can create a game of I can be talking about marketing the television show and then also saying, but hey, I'm also looking for guests and like filter it down. And if I don't get it done in a day, Kenny, I don't get it done. I don't go to beat up mode and be like, oh my gosh, before I go to bed at night, thinking of the million things that I should have gotten done because I don't believe in shoulding on yourself. I look at and celebrate, hey, this did get done and it was a great day and I accomplished a lot.
Yeah, and something I've learned with to-do lists, at least for myself, is you look at that list. Okay, I got this done, but I didn't get all these things done, and it took a while for me to flip. And unfortunately, it was the negative thing, because I was doing this over here, or I used to think playing video games with my family. While I was doing that, I'm like, oh, I could be doing this at this time. I could be doing this. I could be doing this. And I had to flip. Like, I get to spend time with my family. Those other things can wait. This is the priority. This is where I need to be. So once I flipped that, and once I did that, I'm like, yeah, I didn't get this done, but I got this done over here that was much more important, not even on my list at all. and it's so eye-opening and so freeing and so relaxing, sort of, because you're not so stressed, or you're not so focused on what you didn't get done according to that list. And I love how you brought that up, and I love how freeing it is when you're in that frame of mind. And I love the and thing too, because sometimes I'll do some multitasking. You'll see me look at my other screen here, but sometimes I'll get so worked up and think I'm being so efficient that I'm not being efficient again, and I end up having to go redo the one thing over here anyways.
Right, and that ends up costing you more time, right? Because like I have been, like one of my prime examples I always talk about is that sometimes like maybe there's a podcast or something you want to listen to, and I decide, okay, like I'm going to do emails, like return emails at the same time I'm listening to something. And then I find myself typing when I'm listening to. I'm like, whoa. This is not efficient. This is not working. Now, if I'm walking my dogs around the block, then I can be listening to something else, because like walking the dogs is kind of a routine thing. And then listening, like that doesn't take a lot of like necessarily like brain thing. But like if you're actively doing two things at once, one thing is going to suffer. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, and like you said before, there's no set rules of how we have to do it. You know, I can multitask in a couple things over here, but if I try and multitask these things, I'm SOL. But someone else is great at multitasking these things. Like they can type and listen and not get them crossed. You know, I couldn't. I'll be typing what I'm listening to, or I'll completely stop typing to listen, or I'll have to go back and rewind something or reread the whole thing. So whatever works for you, like you said, it's not a one size fits all, and there's not set rules in certain areas and stuff. But yeah, I love how taking that power back is so gives you so much more power to be better you, to serve better. You know, if you taking your power back, you're not doing it in a selfish, greedy way. You're doing it to make yourself better. That way you could serve your people better. And oftentimes we
Absolutely.
don't think of that. We think of, am I being greedy for doing this or wanting this or working on this for me or whatever. If I'm spending money on this coaching program or going to this course or whatever it is, or even going to the spa for myself. Oh, I'm greedy. I just spent all day and $100 at the spa. But when in reality, if it's making you a better person and you're serving others better, you're not greedy at all.
No, and one of my things that I talk a lot about is self-care is not selfish. And you may have heard before, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. And so really being able to take care of yourself and putting yourself as a priority is really going to benefit all the other people in your life as well. And I know it's not always easy to do. Sometimes we find ourselves at the bottom of the list in any given day. And it's like, even if it's something as simple as taking a step back and doing some breathing. Like, I think one of the most simplest things that, like, I know when I sit back and maybe I just do, like, I close my eyes for a minute, I do some breathing. Sometimes there's like mindful minutes, like you can do minute meditations, those kinds of things. They can just shift the dynamic, the perspective of where you're at. And it doesn't always have to look huge. It doesn't have to be a whole day for yourself. However, it's like, but if that's what's needed, then take that day. But there are things that we can do throughout the day that can also support and benefit us as well. And a lot of times when you're so go, 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 go on that hamster wheel, that, like, it's important to remember that we're human beings, not human doings. And so it's in those moments that you take for yourself or you just step back that a lot of your creativity will come to you, and that you'll just be a better person, a better all around person if you're taking some of that time for you.
Thank you. How do you approach it when someone comes to you? Because I was kind of born and raised and to point to still have this, put others' needs before your own. It's kind of contradicting to what we just said. So how do you cover that or bridge that gap or clarify?
Well, there's a time and place for everything, because like I do a lot of times, I do a lot of give back, right? But again, it's just like, okay, like let's say for instance that you're a giver and you like to volunteer your time, or you like to do for everybody else, right? Well, if you're not finding the time for yourself to, let's say, earn money, like to work on your business, like you're always giving, 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 at what point you don't have anything to give anymore. Like, like we talk about money as an exchange of energy. And for the longest time, like I fell into this category. I like to help people, I like to give back, I like to volunteer. But you can only do so much if you don't have money coming in. Like, that's the bottom line, right? And so there's there is no such thing as like always balance. It's like balance and counterbalance is what I believe. Like sometimes we'll be so focused in on work and then so like you're going to go out of balance. But then like I said, when you're with your family, you're focused in and you're in the moment with your family and you're not considering everything that is going on around with work. Like, I'm sure the same thing when you've talked about these business trips. You do the business trip, like you're in the business meeting, then you leave the business meeting and now you're focused in on your family, right? Like you can create that distinction. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is people will say, "Oh, I just have this quick text message or I have this quick email to respond to." And then you find yourself an hour, 2 hours, and you're still in the business mode because you weren't able to break yourself away. See, like remembering that somebody else's crisis is not your emergency, is really key on how to make that distinction. And so I think that for everybody, is it going to happen overnight? No. Like if you've been always that giver, but it's like it's so important. Like if you're a giver, to remember to give to yourself first, right? Because you can only do for others. It's like, the golden rule, like do unto others what you would do for yourself. So like at some point, if you're not giving for yourself, I trust me, you will have nothing to give to others.
I love that, and I love like that flat tire thing, or you can't give someone a ride with a broken car or whatever, and
Yeah.
and then I just lost what I was gonna say, but it'll come back to me. but but yeah, it's a balanced mesh, and also I think together with that is kind of the grace of forgiveness. If, oh, I didn't help 10 people today, I only helped 8. So you know if you're still doing it with full intent and best of heart and all that stuff, then it's okay to have an off day, or it's okay to not always be what everyone expects all the time, or whatever, to take an extra day for yourself and things like that. And or if something happens, you life goes on.
Well, there is like because like as you were talking about that, it just came to mind like some of our greatest givers, like Mother Teresa, or if you believe in like God, Jesus, kind of thing. Like Buddha or that. I think I'm sure they all needed a day for themselves. Like there were days where like that's how the appearance was that they were always giving, yet that there were times that they probably just needed to sit in some, solitude, some meditation. Like even if it's just simple meditation where you're just sitting, in silence and just recharging yourself, right? Because again, I know, and there's, usually two types of people that are out there. Like people will be recharged. Like a lot of times I'm recharged from with spending time with other people. But there are times where like I just like you said it I think earlier, like I just want to sit back and read a good book or just, sit in silence or whatever it is. Like you've got to find those ways to be able to recharge yourself and for all of us because again, there's like that frantic energy and you'll know it. Like if you jump out of bed and you immediately hit the ground running, your whole day will be set up like that. Like I have felt it. Like you're running, 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 and you like, by the time you go to bed at night, you're like, woo, like what just happened? But if you wake up in the morning and you set your day up for yourself, maybe it's meditating, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's just sitting in silence. I mean, whatever it is for you, that will set the tone for the rest of your day. It really will.
Absolutely, and I can attest to that personally, 100%. Because I've done it and then I've stopped, and I've done it and I've stopped, and every time I've done it, it helps tremendously. Set the tone for the day, set the attitude. I'll go back to your flat tire thing. It used to be a flat tire and it was the end of the world, but now it's okay, flat tire. I'll change it. And then going on that, also changing the mindset of, oh, I have a flat tire, woe is me. It's like, okay, I have the know-how, I have the resources, I've got the tools, whatever, to change this flat tire. There's a solution, and I know how to get it. You know, and even if I don't have it right away, I know people that do have the solution. You know, one of my favorite sayings in that regard is are you the type that there's a problem to every solution or a solution to every problem? You know, so once I flipped that, going from oh crap I got a flat tire to all right, I'm glad I have the tools, I'm glad I got the know-how and the resources to correct this problem. You know, it's a little hiccup, not the end of the day. Let's get it fixed and move on. Again, it's been so so freeing. Trying to think of a better word, but freeing is huge right there, I think. And just it changes everything and compounds positively.
It does. It really does. And again, it's all in perspective and attitude and choices. Is what so much of this comes down to for all of us, for anything that we're facing. And a lot of times, like I just like to bring it to people's awareness. I think, when you don't know what you don't know, but when you do know, you do better, right? So, like when now you have the information, and it's not going to be perfect. We're all a work in progress. Trust me, I do not have everything all figured out because I still have my moments of breakdowns and, I can still get overworked or overwhelmed, kind of thing. But it's the awareness now. That's my journey. It's like realizing what led up to that point and then being able to shift it and being able to support others with, again, my own journey.
Absolutely. And the journey's still going, and the journey is whatever we make of it. You know, um, nobody else writes our story, writes our journey, unless we give them that permission.
Right.
You know, so thank you for being here. Where can people reach out to you? Where can people learn more about the show? Where can I come find more about your show?
Well, okay, so you can see I have my website down listed below here, juliejones.biz, B-I-Z. That's really the best way to get a hold of me. The name of the show, and I've got to get my website updated because that information needs to be put on there. But it's on the Zandra Network. So if you go to ZTV, Z's and Zebra TV, or go to Zandra Network, it's an internet site, and you can look for the name of the show is Stop Waiting, Start Living, and you'll be able to post it. If you're posting this like on a page, Kenny, I'll be happy to add some links and stuff. Just tag me and I can, put some additional information out there on how people can find the television show. But I have it, I have a book out by the same name, Stop Waiting, Start Living. So that's really my platform. It's all about, again, just encouraging people to be in the moment, and things will happen to all of us. Again, none of us walks like an easy path, but it's taking those life lessons and then applying them and continuing to move forward.
I love that. And moving forward, you figure out some of those obstacles as you go, and you'll learn the things that you need to. Like we'll go back to Machu Picchu again. You know, once you figure out that you wanted to go there, then you get there, and there's stuff about the place that you don't know. But get a tour guide, or in other words, get a coach, get a mentor, and they'll help you figure it out. You know, um, but you'll figure it out as you go, and I love that. And speaking of coach and stuff, you're gonna do a call with people. They go to
Yes.
your website.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Right on the homepage, it's very easy. As soon as you go to juliejones.biz, right there, it'll say book a call with me. It's a free 30-minute, no obligation call. I promise you, it's no obligation. And so, really, I always tell people bring to me what is your biggest obstacle, challenge, struggle, because you talked about it, Kenny, and I love that. There are an infinite amount of solutions for anything. And sometimes when we're in it, as I always say, that's why I use these glasses when you're in it, you have your filters and perceptions, right? Like that's all you see. But then you come to me and like I have a 360-degree view of you and I see things differently. And that's what I just love to support people with. It's like, hey, listen, have you thought about this? Have you done this? And like, let's just come up with some different solutions to what you're facing. And I'm a lot of fun to talk to. That's what I always tell people. I'm like, you will you in 30 minutes it'll feel like 5 minutes because we're going to have a blast spending some time together.
And I agree. It's been a joy. It doesn't feel like it's been almost an hour since we got on the call together, and I love that. And like you said, there's such power in just talking. You connect with the right people. You connect with Julie, and I've learned so much just in the phone calls and the conversations we've had. And that's not even. I'm not even at the iceberg. I can barely see with the binoculars at the iceberg of the potential things that I get to learn and uncover by connecting with people. And and it's such a awesome journey to be on. I don't know what the next end result will be or the next day will be. What tomorrow will look like, but I'm excited for the journey, and I learn and I grow, and I've loved having you on here. So thank you so much for being here. I'm excited for your show and to connect again. So everyone, juliejones.biz, book a time with her. You'll be glad you did. And excuse me, sorry. Thank you for being here again, Julie. Thank you so much for taking the time, and your
Thank
coworkers too. I love having them in the show. And
Yes.
everyone watching, again, please go to juliejones.biz and see what she's got going on. Book a call with her. You won't regret it. And thank you for taking time to be here. Remember to live your passion, fulfill your purpose, and explore those possibilities. We'll see you next
Thanks,
time.
Kenny.